Greetings. In this video, I want to talk about how the chessboard measures time. And we get to the end, and this game ended up being a perfect example of that. So I thought I would make a video about it, and that's what I really want to get to. I've made plenty of videos talking about theory and controlling the center and all that. This one's going to be about time. And the chessboard measures time differently than you and I. And someone might say, well, yeah, like a timed game or something. No, that's just, if we put a clock on a game, that's just a human measurement. The chessboard, the essence of the game itself doesn't care if you're playing a 10-minute game or a 30-minute game. The chessboard measures time by the tempo of the movements, and we're going to take a look at that and what people mean by when they say, do I have time to do this? Do I have time to set this up? Do I have time to set that up? And so they may be referring to a clock, but when they're talking about the essence of the game itself, they're talking about the tempo, and we're going to see a perfect example of that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how humans measure time as well. And this is protected by this pawn, by the way, and threatening the queen is why I went there. I'm trying to lay down some heat on the king side in this game. In this game, you're going to see me take some chances, and that's why it ends up being a perfect example of how the chessboard measures time. And the best way to learn how the chessboard measures time is just to actually see it in motion. Now, back to my rambling. Time is not a real thing. It's like a shadow. It may be a noun in the dictionary, but it has no principalities, and time is the same way. It has modal properties, but that's all it is a modality. Time is the same way. Just think of time like a shadow. It has modal properties, but no principalities. And people talk about, what about the curvature of space-time? It's ridiculous. Time does not curve. That is just a science fiction idea. There's no such thing. There is no such thing as time, in a manner of speaking, because it's you say, well, you just experience the present, and the present is sandwiched between the past and the future, and you go from one moment to the next, and that's not even fair to say, because a moment is a measurement, and the moment it is a time measurement. Whatever value you assign to it doesn't matter. Now, I want to look at this again, okay? The computer says I should have took here, but the point of me playing this 1600 bot is I want to advance and move things up. I want to show pieces working together, and do I have time to put together what I want? And so that's the whole point, is I have to open things up. If I want to lay down some heat on the king side, I have to open things up. Do I have time to do that? And as you see, I'm only one move away from not having time to do this. Okay, so I've got to get pieces working together, okay? And I've got a pawn with a major piece under it. That's great. That's what you want when you're promoting a pawn, pushing a pawn. You want a major piece under it, not over it, under it, okay? And so here, I'm about to lose my queen, and do I have time to, as in the tempo, do I have time to put together getting these pieces to form mate? You know, is it worth the queen sacrifice? Do I have time to do this? And I have to be aware that my opponent owns this. So if this rook ever comes here, it's mate. So that's my time limitation. That's my time limitation, is this, my opponent is using this piece and this piece to work together. So that's the tempo I'm watching. That's the time that I'm trying to measure, okay? So let's keep looking at this. Now, I think I take a chance here. At 1600, I think they're going to pick up the queen and think it's a free queen at 1600 is what I think. And even if they do take here, I can still do the voodoo that I do and make this work. But anyway, let's get back to this, because now I'm one movement away from losing this game, because that will be that. However, I do have time. I've measured this in my head, and I have time. That's check. It has to be dealt with. And remember now, this knight owns these things. So there it is. So now it has to waste time, my opponent does, moving out of check. And then there it is, and that's mate. So if we put a clock on this game and say, well, that's the time, well, that's just us humans measuring something like we always do, trying to quantify things. There's that annoying buzzword. But the chessboard doesn't care about what kind of actual time we put on the board. Anyway, so that's the kind of measurements you take as far as time goes. Do I have time to put this together? Hopefully that makes sense. Thanks for allowing me to ramble. And time is a weird thing. Remember, it's just a measurement, and it can mean different things. On the chessboard, this is what it means. Thanks for watching, and as always, I demand you have a good day.